art students. I am about to show you how you will create your repeated pattern drawing. But first I wanted to give you a little glimpse of the materials that you'll need to have with you. So the first thing you want is just a simple piece of paper. This could be a sketchbook paper if you are able to take out pages from your sketchbook. It could also be just a piece of computer paper, or if you have, this is mixed media paper, that would work fine too. You'll also need a pair of scissors and your selected drawing materials. You could also use paint or watercolor, but it's going to be a bigger challenge, and it will probably take you a lot longer if you were to paint this project. So I would just choose your drawing materials. And the last material you'll need is a roll of tape. So you can use masking tape like this, you can use painter's tape, or clear tape. So you'll need your drawing materials, your piece of paper, a pair of scissors, and tape. So the first thing you're going to be doing is looking at your parameters in which you're drawing. So we're looking at our piece of paper, and there is one thing I want to note to you. You will not draw anything that overlaps on the edges of this piece of paper. So usually when we're drawing, it's fun and exciting to have things that kind of bled off of the page to create movement in our artwork. For this process, stay clear of having works of your drawing come off of the page. So if I was drawing a jar, I would want it to be in my paper and not bleeding off the edge.
So I'm ready to start my drawing. I'm gonna start out in pencil, and I've decided to ink. Remember, I'm not going to draw any objects that go off of my page. So that final moon, I had to be careful that it did not bleed off the edge. Every object is going to be fully drawn inside of our paper.
All right, so I've done a basic drawing on here just to give us an idea of how this process works. I started to shade some things. I'm not convinced about what I'm doing at the top, so I just decided to leave it uninked so I could make adjustments when I go. But when you finish your drawing and you haven't drawn anything on the edges bleeding off of your paper, you are going to cut your paper in half lengthwise. And in order to make this easier for you, I think it's best to fold your paper in half like this. See, I had another drawing on the other side. But my paper's been folded in half, and that's the line I'm going to cut on. So you're going to take your scissors, and you're going to very carefully cut as straight as you can across the middle of your paper. So now we have our drawing in two. And we're just going to switch the left and the right. So we had it, it was together, we cut it in half, we're switching it left and right. Now you're going to take your tape and you are going to tape the back of this so that it stays together. So on the back, you're going to put a piece of tape along this edge. If it is helpful to you, you can take a piece of tape and place it right here on the front so that when you flip it over, again, this is just an extra drawing. When you flip it over, it stays and you know where you're taping. So you're taping along this crease here. So now that I have a piece of tape that is running basically along that seam here, I can take this piece of tape off. And we are going to do the same process as we did down the middle, across here. So we're gonna fold our drawing in half. Give it a good crease here so that we have a straight line to follow, and we are gonna cut along this line now. So now we have our top and our bottom, and we are going to switch them. You can see I've already taped that, so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm just taking the top and the bottom and switching them. If it helps, take a little piece of tape, put it on the intersection on the front, so that when you flip your drawing over to the back, you can take your tape and tape along that seam so that your drawing stays in place. You can see I got a little gap here. That's not ideal, so I'm going to untape on the front, which is where it's holding it in place, and try again. So I now have my drawing that we originally cut lengthwise and flipped, then we cut width and flipped, and I have all of this extra space in the center of my work that I'm now going to add some more drawing to. Again, we are not going to come across the edge of this drawing. We're only working in the empty space in our piece of paper. So what I'm doing now is basically finishing my illustration now that I see all of the blank space I had in the center. So your drawing also will have some of this blank space, and you're including more illustrations, more drawings, so that it's more of a complete design. So now I have finished my drawing that I could create into an endless pattern. I am waiting for my ink to fully dry, and then I'm going to go back and erase all my pencil marks. You can also tell on the edge that it kind of curves up where I had folded my paper so that I could cut along that edge. The next thing I'm going to do after I let the ink dry and I erase all of my pencil marks is I'm going to put my drawing down, face down, and I'm going to put a really large book or something else heavy along the edges that are folding up. So I want these to flatten out because they will look a lot better photographed if all of the edges are nice and clean. But once you get to this point, you can photograph your work and use an online tool to create your endless pattern. So I have a suggestion for you of what you can use on our Schoology page. So you can check out that information to create your endless pattern. You can also test it out by taking a picture, cropping it all the way down so that all you're seeing is your drawing, and then opening up a Google Doc or a Word document and then pasting your image in, shrinking it down, and hitting copy and paste a bunch of times, and you'll be able to see how your pattern is turning out. So that's a way to test it out. Before I end the video, I just wanted to show you, this is before I cropped it. You can see the table. And after I crop my image, I'm not seeing anything but the drawing. So now that you have finished your drawing, you're taking a photo of your illustration and cropping the picture so that you're only seeing your drawing.
Once you've done this, I would upload your drawing to Google Drive so you have it on your computer and check out Schoology for the rest of the tutorial.